Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FTGU Media Show. FTGU, of course, standing for From the Ground Up, where our goal here is to help teach you guys how you can produce content for yourselves to help grow your businesses. Today, one of my favorite people, he needs no introduction because if you open up your phone to any social media app, you're going to find him there. He's relentless. He's everywhere. He is also the owner of Prime Real Estate Brokerage and Prime Media. My dear friend, Justin Konikow, welcome.
Hi, Laura, and FTGU. I love that, actually, from the ground up. It's been exciting watching you guys grow the squad out and the content production. I love that you're sharing this with the community. So I think this will be a very valuable channel. So I'd encourage everybody to hit that subscribe button and see what's coming down the pipipeline.
Well, I thank you. I didn't even have to pay you for that. So thank you so much. I mean, we've obviously known each other for a while, and I love what you say. One of your mottos in life is iron sharpens iron, right? And so that's why we love to have people like yourself on the show to help teach people how they can do it for themselves. I really want to just get started and get right into it. Talk to me a little bit about, I'm sure it was a couple of years ago. For me, it was around 2018 where I really thought about producing content with the purpose of helping to grow my brand awareness. Mm-hmm. I started in real estate about 6 years ago, and I was posting content on just listeds, just solds. Here's the market stats, kind of what you see a lot of real estate agents doing. But then I kind of realized, look, I really got to start establishing myself more as a brand. So I wanted you to touch on when it was that you started producing content with more purpose, and really what was the motivation behind it?
It truthfully started when I started my real estate career. I never really was an agent. I kind of just played one on TV, right? I was in marketing and advertising. I worked in the hospitality industry. And what I was always taught was how you present yourself forward facing to people, be it on social media platforms or in real life, is your brand, right? Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So when I got into the real estate industry, I really wanted to do things differently. I had no intention of being your typical agent. I remember being trained to go into my Facebook when I got in the business, message everybody I know, tell them I'm in real estate, tell them, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? I sent that message to exactly 3 people, and I got made fun of by 2 of those 3 people because they're good enough friends of mine that they could chirp me. And, right. They're like, this isn't you. And I'm like, you're right. It's not me. And I'm not going to do that. Right. So I initially was watching $1 Million Listing, and it was actually Frederick Eklund had a video tour of this Aspen lodge, and he gave an amazing tour. And this was before listing videos were even really a thing, right? I just watched the show, and I remember sitting there with my wife, and I'm like, we have a listing coming up. So I took a couple screenshots. I sent it to my photographer at the time, and I said, can you bring a video camera? We're going to do this at our next shoot. So he had no idea what to expect. We showed up on site, and I started kind of just breaking down the shot list of what Frederick did. The opening shot, drone shot of the property. Then it was an introduction, who Frederick was. And he was like, oh, I'm with Douglas Elliman, I think at the time. And then it was, this is what we're selling. And then it was engaging, walking through the property. And it was exciting. And it really made you feel like you were there with him. So I started looking at other people's content as a creator, not a consumer, and thought, okay, well, how can I put my spin on this? And man, if I pull up this video, it's terrible, but we shot it. And I remember my photographer and videographer at the time, we were going through, making tweaks for the next video and creating content. And I thought about this, and this is a message that I'd like to tell any business owner watching this, because it's not only real estate. Every piece of content you put out there is going to be anchoring what you're doing in the future. So as I started speaking in my videos and talking about it, I was doing a better job for my clients because I was showing them how I was going to sell their house. Future clients were like, man, I want that guy to sell my house because if he's that passionate about that one, I want him on my side. But then consumers that were watching me, business owners, people I align myself with now, such as you guys and everybody else that is kind of on our inner circle, they started to get to know me, right? They saw my personality. I would mention things I'm passionate about. I would talk about the community and the neighborhoods that we were in and put other businesses on that I thought were good people, and started creating this community with the content. And I think that's where I started doubling down. Now, one more piece to that, Laura, is you asked, when did it really shift and change your business? So I want to throw that question back at you. I am going to dig into that, but you've known me for a very long time. The first summit we ever met at, I showed up with a binder. I was disorganized by myself. From that guy to today, how do you think content has shifted or changed my business?
Wow, Justin, and for all of the people listening and watching, I mean, you can tell this guy has his own show because he likes to be in the interviewing seat. So he's going to spin this back around on me. Justin, what I've seen you do in just a couple short years is nothing but exceptional. I mean, where I think you've really gained the most traction is you had mentioned about putting the community on, right? Like talking to local business owners, talking to other real estate agents. Every single day when I'm looking at your content, you're always giving a shout out to somebody else. And I think that's so important for people to know, especially people who are like, I don't know what kind of content I should be producing. You can start there by giving shout outs to other people. And what that's done for you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you now have a tribe of people who love to support you. People who are actually, people might look at us and say, well, you guys are competition. Why are you giving each other shout outs? Sure. But it's like, there's enough business to go around. And I really applaud you for that, because I think you've done an exceptional job at giving shout outs to people and putting them on and letting your community know who else you're connected with and drawing those parallels to people. Like, you're not afraid to make connections and say, look, have you thought about reaching out to this person or that person? And I think that's an incredible thing you've done. And I get the feeling that everyone that you work with, like your clients, they're diehard fans of yours. Like the comments that they're writing, right? It's not about width. It's about depth in this respect. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I definitely would. I mean, that's what I want, right? If we want to pick our ideal clients, and again, I'm going to speak to all industries, it doesn't have to be real estate. You want to work with people who respect you, they appreciate you, they value you, and you also want to value the people you work with. You want to respect them and you want to appreciate them. And you want to have transparency and honesty between all parties, right? That's the ideal world. And I think that's what we've tried to do with our content and our community creation is really look and listen, right? What is Laura doing right now that she's passionate about? Who can I connect her with to no gain to myself that is going to help her level up? And synergistically, maybe nothing ever happens. Maybe you blow up and you become the next Oprah. And then I happen to be in a position where somebody and I'm like, hey, I kind of want to get in on that speaking gig. I'm around if you guys need me. And then you're in a position to help me. It's not that I'm doing it for that return on investment. What I'm explaining is how it actually happens. Case in point, I don't know if you can see it, but up there, the photo with Ryan Serhant. He's a personal friend of mine now because of you and Jazz. Because you and Jazz had him on one of the REC podcasts, told me, you need to go see this guy. I was totally skeptical. And now you see how closely I work with their team. You didn't have to tell me that, right?
It's funny, Justin, that you say that, because I think your relationship with Ryan has definitely flourished and you've spent a lot more time on it than certainly Jazz or myself has. But it goes to show that, like, not every connection's right for every single person. It's not about saying, well, he was my connection and I don't want to share him with anybody. I mean, first and foremost, he's on a TV show that both you and I love. I've been watching $1 Million Listing since its inception. And I just thought, what a great person to have on our podcast. Little did I know that by making that introduction to you, I mean, what you're doing with him is absolutely incredible. And you share all that information with everybody. And now I'm learning through you about Ryan. So it just goes to show that there's more than enough to go around. I did want to take you back to something that you mentioned, because when you started producing content after seeing Frederick's tour, you were saying that I had my videographer in. A lot of people that I speak to, a lot of real estate agents will say, look, I want to start producing content, but I really don't know where to get started. And it must be so easy for you guys because you have a camera person and a videographer and you have all these people helping you. What do you say to those people? Like, should they just go out and find a videographer, or do you recommend that they start with, just take your phone around and do your own thing for a little bit? What's your thoughts on that?
So the first entry level is 100%. Like, you do not need equipment. You do not need a team. You don't need to produce content. You don't need to pay a couple $1,000s and pump out vlogs. They actually don't do anything for you. Short form content, get good at Instagram stories, connect with people online. Picture there's 20 parking meters on the street and you're parked at one. You are putting coins in 19 meters before you put a coin in your own. You're going into other people's profiles. You're building a valuable community so that when you do say something, then they're like, oh, that's Laura. Yeah, she's been supporting me for 2 or 3 months. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Laura's into fashion. She actually can rip off like amazing styles and do them even better than the originals. They start to know you through that content. So short form content, short form video, I'd say Instagram's probably the easiest way to do that. Now let's go one step further, right? And now we're talking to the people that understand the value in it. They're watching other people like Glenda Baker on TikTok crushing it. You know, she made over 150K last year off TikTok referrals. They're like, I want to be Glenda. I'm overwhelmed, right? I don't have time. So I'm going to give you two types of people. One is me. Unbeknownst to most of my audience, I love shooting and editing. I carry around a Nanook bag. It's got a DSLR. It's got cameras. Like, I'm kind of a vlogger, but not really.
Yeah, you got the tech nerdy aspect to you. I'll give you that.
I love it. I know how to edit. I used to do programming in C++. I did digital imaging and animations. Like, that was my world. This energy does not have the patience to sit in front of a computer for 14, 16 hours, which is why I don't really edit or do any of that stuff. But I love capturing creatively, taking photos, right? So for a guy like me, I produce a lot of my own content up until recently. So I was actually doing all of my Prime Daily videos myself. I would take my phone, I would set it up, I would talk for a minute, I would open Adobe Rush, which is a free app. I do a couple minute edit, and I would do that every day, and I'd post it on the platforms myself. So anybody saying they don't have time, that is not true.
And that's self-taught, right? Like, you kind of like Googled it around how to do stuff.
Yeah, initially it was iPhone camera, right? So I'll do it right now because capturing awesome people. So I'll capture my talk with Laura. Let me just put this on the big screen so everybody can see that face.
Woo, woo. I'll give you a wave.
That's awesome. I would literally turn the camera on and I'd do video. Hey, post on Instagram. And that was probably the first video I did. Then I realized the captions matter and people actually read them, and the more time they spend on your page. Okay, so I'd write a little bit more captions. Oh, hashtag strategy. Then I would start doing hashtags. Then I'd be like, okay, now I'm putting it on multiple platforms. How does that look, right? So that it was literally one day at a time. And in the beginning, it probably took me 40 minutes to shoot a video. 9 takes. I didn't like the way I said things, whatever. It got to the point with Prime Daily, and we're at episode 729 or 730.
Holy smokes. That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's 7 minutes. And I actually have a video. I should put it on YouTube that shows shooting to my editing to posting on 7 platforms and 2 podcasts. And the whole process is 7 minutes. And I do it all.
I didn't actually know this about you, Justin. And it's an interesting point you bring up, because I think there's so much fear, right? There's a lot of fear when people go to produce their own content. A, they don't like how they look. They don't like how they sound. They don't know what they'd say. And then it's B, and then I get overwhelmed with everything else I'd have to do. Yep. Can you take me back to kind of your thought process when you first started producing content? Like, did you have those hurdles that you had to overcome? Like, oh, I don't know if I look good or sound good, because it was taking you 40 minutes. So how did you get over that?
Yeah, it's same thing as driving a car, right? I remember the first time I learned to drive a car, first thing I did was blow a stop sign. And then I was like, oh, I shouldn't do that again, right? And then I realized, I was braking way too hard. And then I realized it's the same thing. People say, oh, I don't know tech, I can't do this. That is BS. They just don't want to put in the time to do it. And that's okay, right? If you don't want to learn it, this is the second person I was going to talk about, the Glenda Baker of the world, right? Yes. She's a close friend, I think she's the #1 in real estate on TikTok.
Wow.
And she hires a gentleman, and he comes in once a month, and it's a 9-hour session. And all they do is shoot content, right? And then he distributes the actual videos to her in a Google Drive link, and she still posts them. And this is one tip I'm going to give all of your listeners. If you think you just want to hire somebody to shoot, do the captions, do the posting for you, you probably shouldn't go too far down this road, because people will know it's not your voice. You'll lose the trust of your audience, and it's actually going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. You'd be better to hire a social media company to just do very basic, bland, repeatable posts,
right?
And not go down this path, because the only people that I really see succeed are the ones that are doing what you're doing, and Jazz and other people that I know as well, where they're producing content with a team. So they're just walking in, shooting, and then leaving, and then on their phone, the Google Drive link pops up, and they're taking the time in their day to decide what they're going to post and then write the caption. That is my 7-minute process. So I've gotten to the point now where I'm a hybrid of myself and Glenda. So today at 12:30 to 2 o'clock, Nico, my creative director, is coming in here. He's going to have the light set up, the mic set up, everything's going to be set up. We have a list of ideas I'm not going to show you because there's no point, but it's literally a bullet point list of topics. There's probably 100 topics on there. He's just going to ask me questions, and I'm just going to riff, and I'm going to grab coffee, and there's going to be people here at the office. And while we're doing all this, there also is going to be one of my employees with my phone in portrait mode, because iPhones are sick, snapping portrait photos of everybody that's here, the photographer, myself, the receptionist, Eric, all of the people, right? So what I'm explaining to people is we've thoughtfully prepared that today from 12:30 to 2 o'clock, all we're doing is creating content, right? I'm probably going to get 20 to 30 short form videos, which I can use for Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikToks. I can also use them for the Prime Daily podcast. If you'd like to see it, go check it out. They're very short clips.
Great plug. And I agree. Go check it out.
You got to learn these things, right? I don't like plugging it, but I guess if I don't, it doesn't work.
I love it.
But now the creative process only took me 2 hours. Now, what does that do for my business, and why am I putting forth the effort? The attention game of putting out valuable content to my audience is translating into more business than you could possibly imagine, because I'm solving problems.
No, sorry. I'm just like, I think that's where it really has to connect with people. Like, they'll look at social media and they'll say, yeah, this is all fun and it's nice to get likes and comments, but like, I'm in it to make money off of this. So talk to us about that. Like, how has you posting actually turned into dollars in your pocket?
I can't afford not to do it, right? And you know what it's done for our business is I just signed a massive developer. We're going to be selling tons of lots for him. That whole Camelot. Actually, we're doing a project with you guys kind of similar in that area. We just got a lot of his projects because of the fact that he's like, I don't want a salesman. He's like, anybody can put it on MLS, right? Anybody can sell a property in this market, which is true. And I tell people that to their face when I go to list a property. I'm like, if all you're worried about is how much commission you're going to pay, you may as well put a sign on your lawn. Don't even hire an agent. But if you want somebody that's going to make you more money, where you don't even care what you paid me because I made you so much more than you could have made on your own, now let's talk. So the content that I put out gets me into conversation with these people because they hear me say this. I just did it on your podcast. So there likely is a consumer that knows somebody in London, Ontario, or Grand Bend. I'm playing around, but it's the truth, right? Where by proximity, people are like, man, you should see this guy, you know, what he's doing and the attention he's able to put on properties and everything else. If you're looking to do real estate, call Justin. Like, he's not just an agent. Like, they're a marketing company disguised as a real estate broker.
That's right? What we always say here. It's like, you should be a marketing company first. That's how you need to look at your own business. Like, you're marketing your business and you're a real estate agent second, right? I want to go back to, because you were talking about scheduling everything, and maybe, you know, I think you and I have our morning routines fairly similar. I see you on Clubhouse, like super early in the morning. This morning, I think you signed in at 4:45 or something like that. I was up at 4:30. I have my morning routine down to a T. Like, wake up at the same time, do like write in my journal, do my meditation, do my workout, walk my dog. Everything's kind of planned out. With the social media, though, where I might be struggling and where I think a lot of people struggle is actually scheduling time. And it sounds like you have this down to a science. Can you walk us through like how you schedule everything? Because there's LinkedIn, there's TikTok, there's Instagram, Facebook. Then you have to be on Clubhouse, multiple times a day. How do you navigate that and then still run a business?
Yeah, so Clubhouse is easy. I'll answer that one. And it's just, I've aligned myself with 3 different tribes of people. Right. So one is just business and entrepreneurs, like super, super high level. So Breakfast with Champions, that's run by Glenn Lundy. Check out that podcast as well. I mean, he was the #1 in the automotive group in terms of sales. People actually pay this guy a lot of money to consult on sales. Perfect for my industry, right? Good translation. Started going in this room. I was leading the room yesterday. Guess who I was talking to? Grant Cardone. We were just hanging out talking. He was about to get on a helicopter. We're talking about money, how people get wrong with investing. Like, how does that happen? Right. So that's one room I run in the morning. Then 7 o'clock to 7:30, 8-ish, I'm in Good Morning Real Estate. And that's with German and that crew. And it's a whole bunch of real estate agents across North America. And we're talking about what we're sipping on, what we're grateful for, what we're working on. And I come to work with ideas that nobody in my market has because I'm being trained by other agents that are top producers in places like Naples and LA and New York and everything else. So there's that. And then I do Morning Power for Realtors, 8 to 8:30. Again, another group where we focus on our numbers, our intention, and our gratitude. I'm giving you the Clubhouse rundown Because it seems like, man, he's on Clubhouse from like 5 a.m. until 8:30. How does this guy get anything done?
Does he actually sell anything anymore? Because you're always on that thing. But I think you must have it figured out where it's on in your car, or like as soon as you're done at one appointment, you get in there to see what's going on, right?
Yep. So check this out. Never make a narrative about somebody else's life because you don't really know what they're doing. So I've directly said that to my team. I'm like, just so you guys know, if you always see me on Clubhouse, I'm actually not always on Clubhouse. Like there's a reason I'm there. Part of why I do it is to support my friends. So if Laura opens a room and I go in, the following that we have there has become significant for some reason. I'm helping Laura build her room. So I may not be paying attention to it.
Yeah, you're not actively in the room participating all the time. Yeah.
And my morning rooms, if I'm not running the room, I work out from 5 to 7 every single day, right? So I do my recovery, my stretching, my workouts. Good morning real estate, 7 to 7:30. I'm doing my mind sweep and I'm doing my time block. When I'm 7:30 to 8, I'm typically reading or in the sauna. That's why I'm not usually actively in that room, although I may look like I am. 8 to 8:30, emails, delegation, right? So as I'm in the morning power up room, I'm talking to my direct reports. I'm throwing balls up in the air for files that we have on the go. So like, how productive do you want to be? Because by the time I get to work at 9 o'clock, I've probably done like 1.5 days work that a normal person would do. I just use the rooms and layer them, stack them on top of each other, and I'm habit hacking. And the rooms actually force me to do those habits every day. If the rooms weren't there, maybe I sleep in and I don't do all that work. Does that make sense?
100% it does. And you know what I love most about this is just your ability to really multitask and find creative solutions to making the same time. Everyone has the same amount of time in their day, right? But you're finding creative ways to make that time work. I imagine you don't have a lot of downtime for yourself, but I do know that you also—
That's not true. So I'm cutting you off again.
There's my narrative.
I have more time than most people. So one problem that I have with content now is people think I'm so busy because they see me everywhere. Try and call me, 519-860-6547. I will text you back right away because I'm on a podcast, but I will get back to you quicker than most people. And I spend time paddleboarding and fishing and with my family because I put the time in to create the structure, right?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you because, some people will say, well, I just want my Instagram profile or my podcast to be about selling real estate. It has to be about real estate or, educating people on real estate. But you've really done what I love in that you've kind of meshed your other passions in life. So you also get footage of doing other things that you enjoy, like working out. And so obviously we do get to see that you spend your time doing other things. Talk to us about the strategy behind that. Has that helped you in terms of like, I'm not just the real estate guy in a suit, but I also have these other passions and I have a family. Has that made you more relatable, or where do you feel that fits in?
Always. I mean, there's no separation between church and state when it comes to real estate and who I am. I love real estate. I happen to be an expert at it. I love media. I happen to have a passion for sales and marketing, right? It's stacking and layering and not separating. And this is one thing that bugs me in real estate, right? There's an agent that I see and there's an image that he puts forth outwardly. And then I saw on his stories the other day, a different person, like from the image he puts forth, even professionally when I talk to him in negotiations. And I don't judge people by any means. I mean, I can work with some of the most difficult people on the planet. If they show me who they truly are, I'm all about it, right? I like creative people. I like energy, and I'm not the same. I don't want everybody to be me. Where I do find a disconnect and I lose trust in people is when I see that look in their eye, that they're a very different person behind closed doors, the way they speak about their clients, their coworkers. That's not somebody I want to be around, right? So I got some clarity on my content a couple years ago because I was a fire hose. I mean, I was posting just sold, then doing a handstand, then fishing. Then I did have to put some effort into, well, who am I? What do I do? Where do I do it? So I'm consistently posting content around that. I want to sell the nicest homes in London. I'm surrounding area. I want to do the biggest projects. That's who I want people to know me as. But at the same time, I do jujitsu and I like health and fitness. I'm going through some, health struggles, and I want to share that with people because it actually draws in more people than the real estate content. Like I'll use jujitsu, for example. Like I actively don't talk about business because I don't want to be that guy on the mats being like, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? But because of the content I put out when I'm on the mats, I probably did like 7 deals through my jiu-jitsu school last year, just by proximity and the fact that
you're connecting with like-minded people and people who, particularly like that. And I think it's so important for people to realize, like, if you lose somebody because you're into dogs and they hate dogs, well, then you probably didn't really want to work with them anyway. So don't get so consumed by you have to be the right person for everybody. Like, get grasp of who it is that you're trying to attract, put out content that you think speaks to you, but you also know will speak to them, and then let the rest go, right? There's, like we keep saying, there's more than enough business to go around. Justin, you're such a fascinating person to me. I find you're so intentional about the way you live your life, and I absolutely love that. And I know that we needed to wrap things up pretty quickly here today, so I definitely appreciate having you on the show. Let's just leave our viewers and listeners maybe with one tip, maybe for that viewer who's like, look, I love what Justin's doing. I watch him every day, but I'm scared. I don't know where to start. What's your tip for that person? Stop
overthinking it, right? Everybody's waiting for perfect. Meanwhile, people like us are actually executing and making adjustments, ready, fire, aim to a certain degree, right? You just have to do things to see if it tracks to what your ambitions are. And you only have two things, right? You have time or you have money, you have ambitions and you have actions. And you can look at your calendar and you can see what your actions are. And that's why I do so much time blocking and I put so much time into my calendar, is I can review it. Did my actions map to my ambitions? If not, change your actions or change your ambitions. Those are your only choices.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Justin, thanks so much for being on the show. Everyone, be sure to check him out. Justin, what's your Instagram for everyone?
So it's justin.konikow. You can actually go to justinkonikow.com and find all my links through there. One thing that we are doing that I do want to mention on the show is all of the practical and tactical rooms that I host. We're disseminating those into PDF guides. So we're about to drop the first one, and it's a YouTube strategy guide. But in 2 months, we're dropping a productivity guide, my exact how I map out my day, how I do my time blocking. So if you go to justinkonikow.com/insiders, that's not even a public link. You can definitely get that when it comes out in October.
Justin, I'll be sure to check out the time blocking one. I need the most help with that. Thanks so much again, and we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure.
All right. Take care, Laura.
Take care.
Bye.